Which microphone is requesting a point of personal privilege?
Mic one. Mic one.
Mic one?
Point of personal privilege?
Yes, Mr. Heiss.
I feel I need to respond to Termott. The Mises Caucus has also offered Mike Termott the vice presidential position.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Heiss.
But UCC commercial code is, if you're smart, you dig into it. It's something that you can use to get yourself out of trouble and regain your personal sovereignty and your financial independence. There's some weird stuff that happens with maritime law too.
Right.
Do you think the chair properly supported Chase Oliver under the bylaws? Is that your opinion?
Yes, I think that is.
Oh,
yes.
okay. Well, that's disqualifying.
And so, the answer is take our fucking entire military and put them on our border and secure our border.
Dave was a groomsman at my wedding.
Is getting private funding to be chair, a conflict of interest?
In 2022, as I began to campaign for this role, I compared us to the Israelites wandering in the desert. And I have brought you to the edge of the promised land, and we have glimpsed it. But someone now has to be the one to lead you over the edge and into the promised land. Kind of like Moses, my role is to die on this hill.
This is a CNN tactic that's being used right now, and I think the people who see this video are going to understand that.
Well, thank you very much, everybody, and thank you, Angela, for that introduction.
Hey, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Fakertarians podcast. I'm your host, John Hudak, along with Jeremy Kantorowicz, Archie Flower, Alec, whose last name I still cannot pronounce, and our tech guy. Really, I wasn't even going to try. But we're back after almost a year for another podcast. The last one we did was with Jonathan Casey after the 2024 Libertarian National Convention, where Angela McArdle was reelected as chair. And I would say a lot has happened since then. I mean, there's a new chair, there's a new president, President Musk. There's just a lot going on. So how's everybody doing today?
Seeing that clip from Angela just always cracks me up. Okay, Mr. Heiss.
I was going to say which one, because lots of Angela clips crack me up.
The one at the convention itself.
Thank you for clarifying.
I just remember watching that one. I remember watching that one and just being like, I'm putting that in the podcast intro. So I figured our first intro back, that was going right at the start of it. But like we said, Angela McArdle resigned back
in disgrace.
Well, no, it's to get the job that she is just waiting another week to announce. The joke is that she's been saying that, I think, maybe like 4 times. Like, I'm going to be announcing in a week or two, or, oh, just one more week and I'll be announcing it. And I think she kind of insinuated at one point that she was just waiting for RFK to be confirmed. And that obviously happened, and there's still been no announcement. I think the only place that actually clarified that it was a job in the Trump administration, maybe there was something from Angela, but I remember a Mises Caucus email went out saying that she was getting a job in the new administration. That had to be back in probably late January.
Maybe she'll be working for Doge for personal assistant to Big Balls.
Department of Government Embezzlement. But
obviously, our entire government right now.
You're not wrong.
Well,
but
and
obviously,
the thing is she'll be probationary, and so therefore she's going to be fired right when she starts.
As I was going to say, Angela is innocent until proven guilty, but there do.
I'm not going to say that. You can.
We're talking technicalities right now, but there do seem to be some issues. If anyone's been living under a rock or doing something way more productive than watching Libertarian Party drama for the past month and a half, it was unveiled by Jake Porter that Angela had been paying, I don't know if they're married, I'm going to say her boyfriend, I know it's the father of her child, Austin Padgett. She had been paying him through the Libertarian Party, well, originally just paying him as a contractor for fundraising, even though from what I recall, I don't believe he had any kind of fundraising experience, but she just unilaterally made him some kind of fundraiser. I don't know if it was chief fundraiser or what. Then the LNC voted on that at one point, and they extended the contract. Eventually, the contract ended, and I believe they did not vote to renew. Around that time, or shortly after, the Libertarian Party started paying an LLC called Freedom Calls LLC. No one really knew anything about them. I guess no one really looked into it at the time, besides Jake Porter and everyone who helped him out with that. But it turns out that LLC is owned and operated, it seems to be solely by Austin Padgett, Angela's boyfriend. So even after the contract ended, money continued to be funneled to him. Angela claimed that she was only resigning at 2 a.m. to take a exciting new position that required her not to be chair, but as of this date, she has not taken that position. So I don't know exactly what she's doing right now.
Well, as of this date, she has not announced what the position is. She could have taken the position.
Guys, are we sure it's not classified? Maybe she's just a deep cover operative somewhere. Who knows? Maybe she's having her Jack Reacher moment, guys.
But since then, since Angela resigned, there was another chair election for the Libertarian Party. It wasn't by the members or the delegates or anything like that. It was just the Libertarian National Committee, most of who were, it seems to be at least hand-selected by Heiss, or at least supported by Heiss when they were elected. And Heiss ran for chair, and he didn't get it. Stephen Nikela, who was already on the LNC, got it. I know he was at least a former Mises Caucus member. I don't know if he still considers himself one or not. He was definitely in there for a while, and he had previously been endorsed by the Mises Caucus. I know that a couple months ago, or at least within the last couple months, he was kicked out of the Mises Caucus Facebook group because you can't go against Chairman Heiss there. But Heiss tried to argue that being paid to be chair by anonymous donors was not a conflict of interest. He tried to act like that was the same as someone just getting a paycheck from a regular job, which is obviously bullshit. If you're being paid to, I don't know, like Stephen Nikela, the chair, if you're owning a Wendy's and getting paychecks from that, unless Wendy's is somehow influencing your positions as Libertarian Party chair, and I mean, maybe there could be some kind of influence because you want your business to do well, but it's more indirect. Like you might say, oh, I want regulations cut because I want my business to do well. But being paid by anonymous donors, who knows who these people are, specifically to be chair, seems to me to be the definition of a conflict. But what do I know? I'm not Michael Heiss. It also came out.
Thank God.
It also came out. I think this had been previously disclosed to the LNC, at least at some point. But when Heiss, well, I believe he's still an LP employee, which we'll get to. But Heiss had been hired shortly after the 2024 National Convention as an employee. I'm not entirely sure exactly what he's doing for the party. But while he was working as an employee for the party, he was also working for a PAC that claims to be nonpartisan, but if you go to their website, it's just filled with RFK Jr. stuff. So especially with the fact that the LP had been funneling money to RFK Jr.'s campaign, that looks a little sketchy. And I've been monopolizing the microphone for the last 10 minutes. So if anyone wants to get a word in, feel free right now.
I mean, you summed it up pretty well. Yeah. Really, they just went through so much this last year with this RFK. There's the what was it? The Joint Fundraising Committee. That's right.
The Victory for Kennedy Fund or Kennedy for Victory Fund.
Kennedy
whatever it's
Victory
called.
Fund, which in itself it's legally questionable as far as the arrangement that they had there, because you can't use a joint fundraising committee to attempt to skirt limits, and they pretty much openly state that that is what they're doing.
And I mean, even if it's legally permissible, there are some serious ethical questions raised by fundraising for a different presidential candidate when you're basically letting your own presidential candidate drown.
Right. And even getting back to that, and because they tried to, and it never happened, as they tried to get it RFK on the ballot in Colorado, and the secretary, Karen Ann Harlos, basically got suspended for doing the right thing and making sure that Chase was on the ballot there instead of Kennedy.
Isn't that wild?
What a mess. What a mess. I mean,
strange bedfellows and all that.
Yeah. I just looking at it's hard to tell the state of the financial state of the party, because they don't really release bad. Yeah. They don't really release any financial reports. I haven't seen one in a pretty long time. And so you can go off the FEC reporting, but that is entangled with the RFK funds, because most of the money that gets put aside at the Libertarian Party is actually controlled by Team Kennedy, and just an absolute mess.
I don't
commingling and just it's really not great, to say
Jeremy,
the least.
I have a question for you. As our campaign finance report reading person, have the Mises people even filed a single accurate financial report to the FEC when it was supposed to be due, or is it always after the FEC says these are obviously fraudulent? Please fix and resubmit the one. Because to my knowledge, I haven't seen them accurately file one.
Are you talking about for the PAC or the party?
Both.
The party is constantly modifying their reporting, although it's generally looks accurate.
Okay, so it's the PAC that never files correctly then?
Yeah, the most recent one for Mises shows 0 disbursements, which I just have a hard time believing, because usually you at least would have credit card fees.
Rechtenwald blew it all on gummies.
So 0 disbursements. So they haven't. Usually what they do is they file one on time to get one in on time, and then they modify it later, and it looks like they haven't even modified it. But 0 disbursements is definitely beyond questionable, just given that usually you see a credit card fee at least in there when you see PAC spending. So it is
bad.
I honestly, like I said, it's hard to tell exactly what state the party is in financially, with most of the money basically being for Team Kennedy. They're, I think, like $70,000 in credit card debt. Just an absolute disaster, which I don't know how they're going to get out of it. Because the Kennedy stuff, it probably that helped them pretty much through the election, but that's going to dry up,
right? So that's got to end at some point. And from what I've seen, it still seems like, I haven't seen recent numbers, obviously February just ended, but it still seemed like the non-Kennedy money was coming in at less than $100K in revenue per month. I think I remember seeing something like 63,000 or something like that, at least in that ballpark. And that is horrendous for historically for the last decade or so, especially because 2024 was an election year. And usually at least for election years, there is an uptick, presidential election years specifically, there's an uptick in donations, and we did not really see that this year. It's just been a continual collapse. I mean, there's a new chair in place now, and like we talked about, Stephen Nikela, and he's at least a former Mises Caucus member. He's obviously an upgrade on Angela McArdle. A dead body is an upgrade on Angela McArdle, but Stephen, I've met in the past. He's a nice guy in person when I've talked to him. We've had a couple interactions. I've seen some promising things from him. Like there was a tweet that went out, quote tweeting one of Kanye West's anti-Jewish tweets, and it was from the Libertarian National account, and it was something along the lines of, whether you agree with him or not, Kanye has free speech. And it was like, why are you tweeting this? It's not like there's an arrest Kanye thing going around. It just seemed to be a way to pander to people who would like the message in the tweet. It didn't seem particularly topical to anything regarding the party. But I think
did
it
you
was
see Joe's comment? Joe Bishop.
Oh yeah, so Joe's saying that when he was chair, if a month had less than 200,000 in revenue, it was treated as a crisis that needed to be made up the following month. Yeah.
yeah, they're not not even pulling in 60 grand on their
you were actually
kind of limping along with this Kennedy stuff.
Yeah.
But I say we just we make JBH the financial dictator of the party.
I mean, I'd support it, but I don't know if he wants to end up back there. I don't really want to victimize him again and make him.
I didn't say he had a choice, to be clear.
But like I was saying about Nikela, there was that tweet from the LP National account, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Archie, I think it was you who actually posted something in a Facebook group tagging Nikela and asking if he approved of the tweet. And I kind of I expected something like maybe a little bit of playing both sides or something like that, but I was actually encouraged by Stephen Nikela's response, because he just responded saying something along the lines of, there's an opening on the social media team if anyone
under
wants
2 hours.
Yeah, or something like that.
It was actually impressive.
Down. Yeah, so the fact that he responded that quickly to that, and he got a lot of shit for that. I saw that Toad asshole was going off about it, and I have fun with him on Twitter sometimes, calling him like who knows? He was calling him gay or who even knows at this point with Toad. I mean, I don't take anything that guy says seriously. But
hey, Toad could have been the vice presidential candidate, man. Speak with more respect.
I mean, that was the vice presidential candidate that the party actually deserved at that point. They didn't deserve Chase, or, I mean, to a lesser extent, Tremont. I'm not the biggest Tremont fan, but I definitely like.
How about Reck and Clint? That would have been a wonderful ticket.
Yeah, that would have been what an Angela-led party deserved. But beyond, I think Stephen Nikela said some good things about not pandering to Trump as much. So that's at least an improvement. But I mean, I've still seen some questionable, at best, things from the LP National Twitter account and social media. I mean, there have been things promoting RFK Jr. There have been things promoting Tulsi Gabbard. There was a tweet yesterday. It was a video of Elon Musk on Joe Rogan, and it wasn't that there was anything particularly objectionable about what Musk was saying in the video, but I don't think now is the time to be promoting a guy like Musk when he's basically seems to be the figurehead behind a dictatorial regime, and he's going off about how the will of the people has to supersede the judge's rulings, and Trump is calling himself a king, and we have Trump Gaza and Trump's going along with all this Musk stuff. I just don't think it's the time to be promoting Musk from the Twitter account. It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me. And you know,
Or when he
if it was,
Sieg Heils twice
yeah,
on inauguration
not
day.
even to mention that this guy's throwing up a Nazi salute at the inauguration. I mean, I know there's some.
It's not a Nazi salute. It's a Roman salute. Those are two very different things. Totally, guys. Don't look into who did the Roman salute very
His heart
commonly.
goes out to them. I know. But
his heart goes
I
out.
don't.
You know, I've asked many people to also show me how they send their heart out, you know, because it wasn't a Nazi salute, and yet nobody has repeated such a thing.
My
I mean,
heart to you, two hands.
I know there's been debate about
except Bannon. I know Bannon is.
Yeah,
gosh,
there's been
couldn't
debate
even put
over
any
whether
energy
it was
to
a
it.
Nazi salute or what it was. I think at the very least, he's not. I think Musk is an asshole, but I don't think he's a complete idiot to the point where he wouldn't know what he was doing there. It might be, you could say it's trolling, it's some stupid trolling. Maybe he's pandering to certain people. Maybe he's just a complete piece of shit. Maybe it's all true. Who knows? But just the idea that it was completely accidental, I just don't buy it.
Yeah, no.
Well, Dave Smith's fellow traveler thought it was a Sieg Heils, so.
Fuentes?
Oh yeah, didn't Fuentes? He said something like this is even too much for me. I think it might have been in response to Bannon.
Was that about Elon or about Bannon?
I think that was about Bannon.
It was about Bannon specifically, but I mean, Bannon was just copying Musk. So I also don't think Elon was just trolling. This is the white South African who says he wants to go back to apartheid. I think we can just call him what he is.
Right.
He's
well,
supporting
and ultimately
far-right parties in Europe and everything too. It's not like it's not
I
consistent.
mean, he supported the German Nazi party that just can't call themselves the Nazi party, legally speaking.
Right. And I mean, and in the end, it's always, you know, that's rule of goats, you know. So
shout out to Sam Coppinger for that one. I've never heard such a funny political rule distilled in such a humorous way.
So that actually comes from I think Sam does mention it, but it actually comes from Popat.
That explains a lot. Sam isn't that funny, so
but
that funny. I mean, he's funny enough, but that's a different level of funny to be on. So,
what I was going to add too is that and I want to talk a little bit more about what we think of the new Libertarian Party leadership, but the vice chair that was elected, because there was no vice chair, because Mark Rutherford, the previous vice chair, who was an anti-Mises guy, he had resigned a few months ago. So Paul Dar, who was one of the region reps, was elected vice chair. He's a classical liberal caucus guy. I think he's generally pretty anti-Mises caucus. I don't know if he's going to come out and say that, but he's at least not a Mises caucus guy himself. The issue I have, I was listening to an interview with, and I don't particularly have anything against Stephen, and Paul Dar seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders, and I like a lot of the stuff he says. But I was watching an interview with them from yesterday, and Nikayla said we're too small of a movement to fight over who gets to drive the bus, kind of talking about infighting with the Mises caucus and all of that. I don't think that's the way to go about things now, because I don't think that we're all looking to have the bus even go in the same direction. I mean, you have people that are just coming out and supporting Trump that call themselves libertarians. They're supporting deportations. They're supporting all this other weird stuff that Trump is doing. And then you have what I know this is a cliche, but that I would call actual libertarians who oppose all of that stuff. And I know Paul Dar, too, was talking about not fighting within the party. I actually wrote down that there was a quote saying, our enemies are outside the party, not inside the party. And I don't think that's true either. I mean, it's not that I'm thinking that we all have to fight over every little difference we have. Like, I'm not saying the people who would normally be in the radical caucus have to fight the people who would have been in the old pragmatist caucus or anything like that. But when you have people on official party Twitter accounts or people in positions in the party talking about deporting people and telling black people to go back to Africa and posting all this white nationalist stuff, calling Holocaust deniers truth seekers, and talking about how we should be grateful for President Trump. That's, if those people are in the party, then I see those people as our enemies too. I don't think we should just cover up this whole thing that happened the last 4 years where or has it been? Yeah, around almost 4 years, or 3 years actually, because the Reno reset, they call it, was May 2022, where the Libertarian Party was just taken over by something distinctly unlibertarian. I don't know exactly what it was, whether you want to call it some mashup of alt-right, conservative, MAGA, whatever, but it wasn't what the Libertarian Party used to be or what it was supposed to be.
Hold on, I'm just DMing Rachel real quick because she found a funny comment.
But with that being said, I guess I'll talk about this now too. So
Actually, John, before that, can I jump on something you were saying?
Yeah.
I mean, you can operate on a bus with people that, even if you disagree with them, are generally acting in good faith too. I mean, you don't have to always agree with them. But the fact that the people that used to run the party were actively seeking to subvert it into another party's political interests and are still seeking to run this said party, I mean, you can't allow them to operate in your sphere. I mean, in someone's wise words, I guess, not so wise words, you do have to physically remove them. They need to be gone. The vestiges of this RFK Victory Fund, the vestiges of this bullshit, the LPNH needs to be excommunicated, or whatever the hell the party's bylaws say, and salted to the ground until irrational actors can seek to return it. I have people that know I'm not really affiliated with LP as much anymore still send me LPNH bullshit, sending me like, what are they saying? Someone sent me the fucking thing they sent to Nina Turner recently. I think they said like picking cotton is still free.
Yeah, because I think they told her to go. They told someone to go.
Yeah, they told her to go pick cotton
and they told her
like
to
a
go
year or
pick
so
cotton.
ago.
They're telling a black woman to go pick cotton. Like they know what they're doing there, and they posted within the last week or two a quote from the Ron Paul newsletters about how it was better when gay people were in the closet and stuff like that. Like you can't have a functional political party that's filled with people who are not pieces of shit if you're going to have that kind of rhetoric coming out of a state affiliate. Like, you can't just ignore that and say, oh, let's be friends with the guys posting white nationalist shit, or the guys posting anti-gay, anti-trans, anti-whatever group shit.
It's time to send them back to the John Birch Society or the retirement home, because both of those places fit people of their mental caliber.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
John Birch Society is probably
is like, actually, are there retirement homes like dedicated or like specialized in helping people with Alzheimer's? Because I honestly think the LPNH would do wonders there as clients, not as specialists, obviously.
And this brings me into the other thing I did. So when Angela left and when Heiss lost the chair election, I decided that not that I don't have any problems with the party by any means, but I decided I was going to give it another go. I gave the minimum donation, and I signed up for a party membership, rightly or wrongly. A few weeks after that, which was a few weeks ago, I announced that I am running for chair of the party. Now, I don't think I'm going to win. I think this is, I mean, I'll be prepared if I do. I don't think that my message is going to get a majority of the votes by any means, because I'm not going to pander. I am not going to say that we should all just get along. I am going to propose the things that I think need to happen to clean up this really awful mess that we've seen over these past few years with what we were talking about, with state affiliates sending out anti-gay messages, sending out racist stuff, anti-Semitic stuff. I mean, the Mises Caucus put up a guy for president who can't go like 2 days anymore without blaming the Jews for everything. It can't just be that we just, let's ignore this. I mean, people aren't...
Sorry, we're not laughing at you, John.
No, I know. But what I was going to say is that the people that left, a lot of them are not interested in coming back right now. I don't think a lot of them, I mean, at least some of them probably would have no interest in coming back, even if the fixes that would actually need to happen to make up for what has happened were to occur. But I mean, I think what you got to do is, first of all, Michael Heiss, for some reason, the founder of the Mises Caucus, is still an employee of the party, at least to my knowledge. I know that Stephen Nicalis said during the LNC meeting where he was elected that he was planning on keeping Heiss on as an employee. I think you have to get him and anyone else that was involved with, not just a member of a former member of the Mises Caucus or something like that, because I was a member years ago. I mean, I know Archie was a member years ago. I don't think that it's, once you're in the Mises Caucus, it's some scarlet letter that can never come off. But anyone that was really involved intimately recently with all of this RFK stuff and supporting Angela and all of that, I don't think you can have them as employees of the party right now. I mean, Heiss, who was an employee of the party, endorsed Trump for president. He's still sending out pro-Trump messages from the dissident media account, which he calls himself the CEO of. It's just a Twitter account. I guess I'm the CEO of Fakertarians. But just the idea that you'd keep people like that on, it's not going to result in actual real change. And like we were talking about with LPNH, you got to investigate solutions to this problem right now. You got to at least start with actively condemning the stuff, looking into the possible solutions to this, whether or not it's possible to disaffiliate. You got to look into all of that. If there's no dramatic change in leadership, you got to disaffiliate the state affiliates like LPNH if they're going to be sending out those kind of messages. You have to investigate organizational changes to stop this from happening again, because the way things are right now, if the party were to somehow fix itself and we were able to get people like Heiss to go away, there could still be another thing like this down the line, and we would just be back exactly where we are.
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to LPNH, we need to start with the presumption of disaffiliation and then let them defend their existence from there. I don't think we need to investigate solutions. I think the solution is clear, and I think it's up to them to defend their actions and defend their right to exist at this point, in their current form. That is, I think we should have disaffiliated them when JBH was chair. It's a shame that didn't happen.
Agreed.
We could have been done with this problem a long time ago. And the fact that Jeremy Kauffman is still allowed to I think he still tweets from that account, or still
I think he does.
to that account.
What you see coming from it is very Kaufman-like, and he's gotten a lot more, not just quiet part out loud, but like screaming the quiet part through a megaphone.
If he isn't allowed to press the button, he is sending them the things to tweet. And I think it's pretty obvious. Because they share about 5 working brain cells between all of them. And I think he probably has a good 2.5 of them. Jeremy Kauffman is the main admin still. Cool. That explains a lot.
When is their convention?
I think it's next Saturday, the 8th of March.
Because, if they can clean house, then great, but otherwise they absolutely should be disaffiliated.
Exactly, and I mean, LPNH isn't. It's far from the only issue with the LP right now. I think you have to make the party actively non-welcoming to people like Jeremy Kauffman, to people like Michael Heiss, Angela McArdle. Obviously, the platform by itself isn't going to be enough because it wasn't enough before. But I do think that reintroducing the bigotry, being irrational and repugnant platform plank would help. I do think that bringing back the abortion plank would help. Abolishing ICE to the platform, opposing Trump's deportations, and just generally working towards eliminating the image of libertarians as Republicans who smoke weed and MAGA light and all of that. I think that could help go a long way, both towards getting rid of some of these shitheads and actually bringing some decent people back. And beyond that, what were we going to say?
Put impeach Trump in the platform.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
I mean, he sent American citizens to immigration detention camps, and he sent undocumented immigrants with no criminal background, which is a misdemeanor, to Guantanamo Bay. If anything is impeachable, it's that.
So I'm going to add that it's not even necessarily a misdemeanor. So it's a misdemeanor without any aggravating factors to illegally cross the border for the first offense. But if you overstay a visa, which a lot of undocumented immigrants have just overstayed visas, that's just a civil infraction. So that's like
I just assumed
someone to Guantanamo for a fucking parking ticket.
And you know this because you've studied sovereign citizen.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Jeremy.
Oh, yeah. Being unlawfully present itself is not a crime. It's basically, an unlawful illegal entry. That's the misdemeanor.
And just the fact that these deportations in Guantanamo, like a camp for immigrants at Guantanamo Bay, which I thought we were all about, or libertarians were supposed to be all about closing. The fact that the Libertarian Party is not screaming at the top of its lungs about this right now shows that there is a gigantic issue still with MAGA people hanging around. Like, even a lot of the good people that will say things behind the scenes. I'm not talking about anything in particular, or anyone in particular. It just seems to be a problem across the board. But they don't seem to have the balls to actually say what needs to get done. And I am the first to admit that I am not the most qualified person to run for chair or anything like that. I am an attorney. I do have a legal background, but I have never served on any kind of board before. I would argue that being an attorney is being a problem solver, but I have never been on a board. I am not the greatest candidate in the world to be the one for this. I'm happy to say that, but I want to be the person that actually is willing to say the things that other people are not willing to say about what we actually need to at least attempt to fix this party.
Yeah, and you understand, unlike most of Mises, or Mises fails to act on that understanding of what a fiduciary duty is, probably as a lawyer, and what violates said duties. So I feel like you're hitting above the batting average there, John. I mean, that bar is in hell. It's like, oh God, who's that Angels player that's never playing because he's always on the IR? Fuck.
Mike Trout?
No. Mike Trout has good reason when he's injured. It's Rendon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, their understanding of libertarianism is like Rendon on the Angels, non-existent. So as well. So just re-centering the moral pathway of the party would be a help, which doesn't really require business acumen at this point. Now, you also have some business acumen, so that'd be great, but yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I do not think I'm going to be elected because I still think there's too much of a Mises presence. I think that a lot of people who maybe would support me or agree with me have already left the party and want nothing to do with it because of the fact that it's in the shape it's in. But if I were to be elected as chair by some miraculous event, I would make sure I'd be surrounding myself with qualified professionals. I wouldn't just be winging this or something like that. I'd be offering very experienced people positions in the party. It wouldn't just be me being like, oh yeah, whatever, let's just do this. Like, I would obviously have a very ambitious messaging strategy in mind in terms of actually trying to get people to come back that left. But I don't claim to know the answer to every little issue. I don't claim to know the answer to who to hire or how exactly to do the best fundraising or any of that. I would make sure I'd be qualified or surrounding myself with qualified people there. And I also wouldn't be trying to send any money to my significant other.
Sorry, Alyssa. Man. Yeah, Alyssa, sorry, you don't get to embezzle from the party if John wins.
But and the fact too that like Trump is going around calling himself a king. I mean, he's talking about like who the hell knows what he's even talking about with Canada right now. I don't know if he's threatening them with a war or what he's threatening them with. He wants to take over Greenland. He possibly wants to invade Mexico. He wants to take back the Panama Canal. And I don't know what the fuck Trump Gaza is, but whatever it is, it's not good. I don't know if anyone's seen that video. But again, the fact that the Libertarian Party is not trying to be a very loud voice opposing this is just absolutely mind-boggling to me. I mean, I know what the reason is, and it's because there are so many MAGA people that are still around the party, and some people feel the need to still pander to those people, but that's not what
right. Yeah. Do they not want to upset them or something? And I mean, the reality is we should be trying to upset them at this point. They need to go away and fuck back off to the
And I mean, the Democratic Party right now is obviously not particularly seizing the opportunity to be a great voice against the terrible things that Donald Trump is doing. So, hello, opportunity. Like, let's actually take it.
Right. I mean, that's the thing is, the Democratic Party is weak, and the Republican Party is, I mean, it's just fucking terrible in every conceivable way. You know, I mean, it really is a lot of opportunities that really could be seized. That just aren't being, because I mean, we all know that you can't just fire everyone, break the government, and you see a lot of people cheering that on, and some in some sense too, even with the libertarian viewpoint, shrinking the government in that way. But
that I don't think he's doing that. Musk and Trump, I don't think they're doing that out of genuine, oh, let's shrink the government, let's be more efficient, that kind of thing. I think they're largely getting rid of things that they see as a check on Trump's power. They want their loyalists in there. Even if there's less people in the government, if the government is just as powerful, I mean, even more powerful, because Trump is basically acting like he's a king or a dictator, that is not a decrease in the power of the government. It's a decrease in the amount of people, but it's certainly not a decrease in the size of government or the
power. Yeah.
And a decrease in the size of the bureaucracy doesn't mean a decrease in the size of law enforcement.
Right. Yeah, it's not like they're getting rid of ICE or anything like that. And I want to say for the record here, since no one can see my shirt does not just say fuck. I thought people were going to say that.
No, Elon is centralizing power in his hands. He's literally, his hackers have messed up the code so much for U.S. Treasury Department computer systems that he can add or take away any transaction he wants to. Like he could literally put $1 billion into SpaceX and no one would know it until 2 years from now. Like
I've been really entertained because Musk has been canceling some of the leases for the NLRB like regional buildings, but he's only canceled them for the NLRB offices that have like gone after Tesla's treatment of their unions and their organizing employees, and only those regional offices. And there's like 3 or 4 offices he's closed. And I was like, so you're not just canceling the NLRB, which would also be a disaster. You're just canceling their leases for the people that have pissed you off.
Right. Southern District of Texas Attorney General canceled their lease too.
Yeah.
SpaceX stuff is there.
I can't think.
I mean,
of
he
many
is
people-
literally gutting anything that could possibly hold him responsible. I mean, USAID was investigating Starlink, and what I assume was his taking little control of it in Ukraine, which would have gone obviously against the contract that was there for him. And
Yeah.
I've seen a list and I'm trying to
Or
find it, but it basically is he is absolutely gutting agencies.
That $500,000 contract for Tesla studying armored Teslas that turned into like millions that they then tried to say were millions under Biden, but like
yeah, they got caught. I mean, that's the thing too, is just, none of this is going to, I mean, and let's say the pendulum does swing and Trump does, get out of power, and, the cost that it's going to be to put, I mean, and honestly, the time that it is going to be to kind of build these systems back up, it's just going to be so big. Like, it's just, none of it's good. None of it is good.
And I know we've argued over the Ukraine policy in the past, but that meeting yesterday was so bad. Even my anti-Ukraine mom was texting me. And she's like, what the fuck did I just watch?
No, so there's like 2 different positions on this as far as not wanting to fund Ukraine. There are the people who say, I don't want to fund it because it comes from U.S. tax dollars and it's like a libertarian position. I don't want to be funding people. Completely get that. But then there are the libertarians who seem to actually be pro-Russia.
Yeah.
I mean, like McCardle and like a lot of the people that spoke at her Rage Against the War Machine event.
The Unite the Right,
first one. Yeah.
Unite
the one
the
with
Right.
the one with the Russian flags and everything. I mean, these people are like actively pro-Putin, which is just wild. Like how?
Yeah.
I can't think of anyone less libertarian than Vladimir Putin.
Right. I mean, and that's the thing is, I mean, there's a lot of parallels to draw between what Trump is doing and as far as how Putin consolidated power as well. But yeah, I mean, it's like, you're being invaded. You have the right to fight off an invasion. Like,
yeah. But
right, even from like
people just saying that they should give up and it's pro-war to fight an invasion, and I mean, it's like, really? I mean, so invading Iraq, Saddam should have just stepped out of power the moment that bombs fell. Like, I guess it's like, yeah, I don't even get thinking like that at all. Like,
it feels like absolute appeasement. Like, honestly, like
sorry,
it's appeasement.
I was lost in what I was trying to say. It was the fact that the Russian state media, I think they're called TASS, was in the Oval Office, and Trump's defense of it was, or Trump's press team's defense of it was, they weren't supposed to be there. And I was like, how the fuck does a foreign media outlet without credentials get into the Oval Office? Like, this is such a bad lie, just a bold-faced lie. And I was like, so the AP couldn't be there because they still call it the Gulf of Mexico. But TASS, Russian state media, was there to watch Trump's scripted fight with Zelensky. And Musk is probably jerking off in the corner somewhere at the thought of dead Ukrainian children. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The whole thing is just ridiculous. I mean, the fact that even if someone is an anarchist, and the fact that they would say that I don't get rooting against Ukraine. I totally get the position of we shouldn't be involved or we shouldn't fund this because tax dollars are stolen and all of that. 100% get that. But to say someone's rooting for Russia or rooting against Ukraine, they were invaded by someone who's basically pure evil. Like the dude just murders people all the time. He's not. He doesn't have a.
I mean, allegedly.
Liberty-loving
Allegedly.
bone. No, I can say that. Fuck Putin. He's not going to sue me.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a liberty-loving bone in his body. He's been very open about the fact that he wants to take them over. It's not. This isn't to bring liberty to the people of Ukraine.
And what really irks me about, I mean, JBH is right, just to hit his comment about Putin owns the libs, so that's why the Libertarian Party people like him. But what really bugs me about the Libertarian Party and popular Libertarians talking about Musk is twofold. One, they treat him like he's some fucking genius when really he's just a really good businessman. And the really good is questionable at best. But secondly, they still fucking talk about George Soros like he's some goddamn boogeyman hiding under the beds of good Americans everywhere. When if you told me that there was a foreign national billionaire that has taken over the Oval Office 5 years ago and was actually in charge of U.S. federal policy and was dictating how we spent our money and all the other things Elon has done and has subverted the will of of multiple secretary or department secretaries, I would probably just assume you watched a David Icke podcast or just talking about various anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. We actually have a George Soros boogeyman.
Yeah, it's what they thought. It's what they said George Soros was.
But I've seen libertarians praise Musk and then act like George Soros is still in charge of the Democratic Party, or Alexander Soros, or whatever the fuck his grandsons or nephews or whatever, I don't know their relations name is. I was like, you don't get to do this. Pick your struggle. Goddamn.
Yeah.
I mean, Musk basically ran that cabinet meeting.
Yeah, in his really fucking, I'm sorry, but they were also talking about how Zelensky needs to wear a suit when Musk was wearing that ridiculous fucking top hat and top coat and tech support shirt. And I was like, dude, your technology doesn't work, it explodes. Death trap.
If Zelensky goes back, he should wear a tech
partly
support
bulletproof
shirt.
if you don't, consider the windows.
No, I mean,
you're supposed to know that lithium does that.
And fireman's axes can't break into your car. It's a real good fucking design right there. Yeah, I mean, he's just we've always been run by evil people, and there's been a few good people who have been in higher stages in our government in various times in history. But the problem is we're now run by evil fucking idiots. And
I got a lot of pushback yesterday because I tweeted from my chair campaign account, which, if anyone wants to know, it's and I refuse to call it X still, but the Twitter handle is Angela, the number 4 LNC chair. So Angela 4 LNC chair. I took Angela McArdle's old Twitter username when she switched her username when she resigned. I just figured I'd actually have a real libertarian having it and actually put it to some good use. But I tweeted out yesterday, I quote tweeted the LP National, the Libertarian Party account, where they posted a clip of Musk talking about government spending. And I said that if I'm elected, we're not going to be tweeting out or otherwise posting on social media videos of people who are sympathizers for fascism. I mean, that's where we are at this point, with Trump talking about being a king and just the possibility of just ignoring any limits on his power. It's just ridiculous for a party that's supposed to be pro small government and pro liberty to be helping Musk's propaganda campaign right now. And I got a lot of pushback on that. I mean, some of it was from people that were kind of middle of the road, maybe lean Mises, or maybe kind of in the middle. But I mean, a lot of it was who you'd expect, the frog people and all of them. But I did get a whole lot of pushback on that, because people seem to think that referring to Musk as a fascist sympathizer is hyperbole or something like that, and it's really not. He's very open about supporting fascist parties in Europe, and just look at what this administration is doing right now with all these threats of taking over countries and getting rid of the immigrants, sending them to Guantanamo Bay, the talk of impeaching judges for getting in Trump's way. I mean, it's just authoritarianism 101.
Elon isn't a sympathizer; he's just a fascist. Straight up.
Yeah, I don't even disagree with you there. I kind of was just hedging my bets a little bit there with the fascist sympathizer language, because I knew that even that would get a lot of pushback. And that, I mean, that is just undeniable to me. We can debate what his exact positions are, but I mean, he's
but guys,
out there.
he has 14 kids, so it's totally fine, and they all just happen to be born biologically male. I know one of them transitioned, but he's used all of them for IVF. It's totally not weird. He has 14 kids with IVF, or a mix of IVF and birth, and they all turned out male. Just don't ask any questions about that. It's totally not fucking fascist reasoning right there.
Yeah, that's just so weird.
That's actually the word I was going to use to describe it.
Yeah, like eugenicist is probably the more appropriate term, but like, I mean, I'm a little drunk still, so who gives a fuck?
It still works. As legal counsel for this show, I don't think we're going to get sued.
I think I do know Elon's favorite song, though. I think it's Erica.
I'm not
That's a Nazi marching song.
Wouldn't be surprised. Well, there was that time that I don't even remember what the exact tweet was. I think it was in 2023, where some neo-Nazi account posted about claiming the Jews were promoting hatred of white people and some other weird white nationalist stuff. And Elon responded to it with one of his so profound, like 1 or 2 word tweets, like "so true" or "wow" or
You have spoken the actual truth.
Yeah, spoken.
That's like the most
classic,
words he's actually used recently, because usually it's just
and
"wow."
I'm 90% sure that the guy he was replying to was part of the Tower Gang at one point.
Yeah, my favorite Elon bit recently was when he saw that post about black migrants taking over that hospital in Manchester, UK, and it was actually just a scene. I think it was from a zombie movie. That was my favorite bit, actually, I think, recently.
I mean, he's commenting on stuff that's just so blatantly not true all the time. And it's not that it's not true in like an opinion, like something you can debate.
Yeah.
It's like, this actually did not happen.
Yeah, and it's not even like you can't reframe it to be that way.
Right.
Like, even like the dumbest fucking right-wing reframe, it still can't be that way.
Right. It's just pure propaganda.
Yeah. That's why he bought the social media company.
So no one could say anything bad about him.
Every day I tweet something about Elon, I'm really just thinking, man, is this going to be the day I get permanently banned? I'm still upset I got a 7-day ban from him. Fuck that.
I think we got, I'm pretty sure the only time we got hit from the Fakertarians account was after shortly after Russia invaded Ukraine. I think I tweeted at the Russian government account telling Putin, something along the lines of telling Putin to shoot himself, and that apparently isn't allowed. But I mean,
Yeah.
I would like to reiterate my call for that. I think it would be very useful.
I got a 7-day ban for making a certain kind of joke on Valentine's Day about taking a bath with a toaster, which is really funny considering I spent like 3 days before that telling various people to, commit. So I was like, wait, so I can tell people to do that to themselves, but I can't make a joke about like taking a bath? What is this?
Yeah, Twitter's
comedy was legal now, guys. That's all I'm gonna say.
You're being censored for your conservative views.
I also did get shadow banned, I found out.
Really?
Yeah, I tweeted out something like I'm not like other male Geminis, I'm worse, like as a joke, because I saw a mutual making like astrology comments. I think that shit is just so dumb. And so I tweeted that in response. And I got shadow banned for that one, I'm pretty sure, because like people couldn't find my account for a bit. And like they didn't see me in their For You page like at all. And then I did like one of those like "Are you shadow banned" website things, and I turned up. So yeah, that was Elon's Twitter.
Well, yeah, you're allowed to call for white nationalism, but you can't say cisgender.
Yeah, you're allowed to say the Holocaust didn't go far enough, but God forbid you say cis.
That's a slur.
Yeah. Not things I get in my DMs from Nazis, but cis.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I get fun stuff all the time from I call them the frog people.
Yeah.
Or just tweets rather than DMs.
Yeah.
Open
We
threads.
should do a collage of the statements they send to you that we can post without getting a violation.
Well, yeah, we've definitely got a lot of those over the years, and I think I've even gotten some good ones since they announced the run for chair. But I'm sure we can.
My favorite has been the various hate comments you've been getting that you just like reply or quote tweet with like endorsed, like endorsement or whatever the fuck you say.
Yeah, I've definitely awoken a lot of angry Mises people with the announcement that are not very pleased about my tweets about disaffiliating LPNH or reinstituting the abortion plank and all of that. Got some angry
I don't think we
ones.
should reinstitute the abortion plank. I think we should just make it even stronger. We should stop negotiating with these people.
I mean, I'm good with how it used to be, and I mean, I would like a stronger immigration plank if we could. I think that would be useful. I think calling for abolishing ICE and opposing the deportations of peaceful people, I think would be good to add to the platform. Because right now, I think it's something along the lines of unreasonable restrictions on movement.
It does say that.
And
Unless
that
Mises
can be-
changed it.
Yeah. Well, no, I think they wanted to change the immigration plank.
I know they
didn't-
pushed for it. I can't remember if it worked though.
I don't think they were able to actually change it. They they got rid of the abortion plank, and they got rid of or edited, but it was a terrible edit, the bigotry plank in 2022. And they wanted to change the abortion plank, the immigration plank in 2024, but I don't think they had the votes for it. Because I mean, the fact that I still don't know how McCardle won, but the fact that Chase was nominated as the presidential nominee kind of shows you're not likely to have enough votes to get rid of the immigration plank at that point.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Anything else we want to touch on?
No.
Elon can eat my entire. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that word on these streams.
I've been swearing, so you're good.
No, I know swearing's allowed, but I know certain phrases and things get flagged, and I'm not sure if "eat my asshole" will get flagged. But
well, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, I'm sober saying that now. I just wanted that to be clear as well.
All right, so Archie, you got anything?
Nope.
Jeremy?
No, I think I am good for the.
Thanks for the note, JBH.
Oh yeah, so he was saying that they ran out of time in 2024 due to the elections because
yeah,
that was
that
crazy.
didn't
That was going to
fail.
like 1 a.m.
Yeah, so it
All
didn't
those
fail. It
ballots.
just got pushed to the side.
Yeah, I couldn't quite remember because, well, I think I was pretty wasted by the end of the.
we were doing a stream that night.
We were doing a stream that night. Yeah, I was pretty drunk by the end of it.
I was on vacation watching that. I remember, and I was with my parents, and we were watching the part where they started shouting like "fuck Trump" at the convention, and they're like, "I thought they invited him because they liked him." I was like, "You have to understand, the people that are in charge like him, but there is a substantial number of antisocial freaks who are willing to shout anything they want at a former president of the United States with Secret Service protection, and will do it at that convention." And I love them for doing it. Don't get me wrong, but
there's I saw for the 2026 convention.
That's a good question, John. Would Ludwig von Mises vote for you think?
I think he'd be more likely to vote for me than to vote for Michael Heiss.
That's a good question, considering his involvement with certain political groups throughout his life. But we'll leave it at that.
I think he's at least pro-immigration, and I don't think the Mises Institute is particularly related to him. I think it should be more, especially the Mises Institute at this point, since they went down that whole paleo road again. I think they should be more the Hoppe Institute or something like that. But that's a discussion for another day.
Yeah. Jesus, it's been an hour.
I know. So we got to leave some future content because I did pay for so everyone knows I paid for a year of our StreamYard subscription. So we're actually going to be back on in less than what was it, 10 months last time? Probably something.
Yeah,
like that.
I think 8 months. Pulling it up,
months.
looking at it. Yeah,
I'm a lawyer. I can't count, but. All right, so, well, thanks everyone for watching today. Special thanks to JBH, former LP chair, for being here. And we'll see everyone again soon.
We should, yeah. Hold on. This is for after we're live. Sorry. I thought you had cut it.
Buy shirt, get money. No, other way. We get money. You send money, we get shirt.